We just took an epic road trip that took 11 total days, 7 of which were in Central America, so we could drive our vehicle and our dogs down to Roatan, Honduras. And yes, that did include a ferry for, well, the dogs, and then a cargo ship for the vehicle. And a couple things that made the trip very seamless. We had a wonderful trip. We didn't have any issues. Well, some minor hiccups here and there, because what's life without a few hiccups? But what we did is we prepared really well. We talked to a lot of people that had done the trip. We talked to the officials in Honduras to see what we needed to bring for the dogs. I have another video detailing everything that you need to bring your dogs into Honduras. Now keep in mind, if you do bring them in, the US has said they might not allow dogs back due to a rabies concern, even if they're vaccinated, until at least 2024. So something to think about if it's part-time or just a short trip. And then we also got all the paperwork that we needed ahead of time, including all the registrations, lots of copies of everything. I think I copied everything at least 5 times, so I had everything I would need at any border, which included a passport, my ID, my US ID, also my Honduras ID, and I put them on 3 different pieces of paper. I had one that had all 3 of them, but that seemed to get confuse things, so I did have each ID front and back and 5 colored copies. Also had my birth certificate, 5 copies of that, my car registration, my car insurance for both the United States and Mexico, because you do have to drive buy Mexican car insurance to get into Mexico. And let's see what else. Oh, the car title. We did have the car title and 5 photocopies of that as well. That made the trip go a lot better because we were prepared, because sometimes we're very familiar with living in Central America. We've lived in Central America for 15 years, and my Spanish isn't very good, but we can make it work. Google Translate is amazing, so it's nice if you have cell service. My Verizon phone did not work in Mexico at all. The T-Mobile worked wonderful. The second I got to the Guatemala border from Mexico, my phone starts binging, it starts working again. It says, well, welcome to Guatemala. So not sure why the phone didn't work at all in Mexico, even though I have an international plan. But we did have both carriers, and which was nice is when one T-Mobile went out, or when one of the phone lines went out, the other one was normally working. So that, that's just a random piece that was nice, having 2 different cell phone carriers, especially through Mexico. But back to the paperwork, having all those copies, because sometimes at borders you might have to run a lot of errands, and we just wanted to avoid those errands. We're very used to having to run those errands where it's like a border agent needs a copy of something. Oh, well, their copier doesn't work, or they don't have one. So then you have to run around the little border town trying to find a color copier, which is it's one of those things. So the part that made our trip so much better is all of the color copies of anything we could think of, like the dog's paperwork, everything. At least we had 5 of them, and color, and they were nice. I also had wet signatures on any and all of the vet paperwork, especially the rabies. I had the international health certificate with a wet signature, but then I also just had their rabies vaccine with a wet signature. And I did need that on 2 instances, and it was really nice because they were telling me I needed to go to, cross back into where were we going? Oh, we were going into Honduras from Guatemala, and they were all prepared to tell me to run all these errands and do just all of these things. And I think they were actually genuinely surprised. I was like, oh no. I pulled out this folder, I had everything lined up, and I think also when you are that prepared, it's just gonna make everything go a lot better. And so we've had a fine time with the car, with myself and my driving partner. And we had an issue, but that's because we didn't get the proper stamps when we entered Mexico, so we did get a fine on that one. That's fine. Commissions, I pay them because it makes my life a lot easier, and then I don't have to run around trying to find a bank or trying to find something that I just want the stamps, and I want to come in legally myself, my dogs, and the car. However that gets done, that's fine. So the commissions are people that help you do these things. I'm fine. You're making my life easier. I'm fine paying your commission. So we had a great trip. It was very uneventful, but lots of research ahead of time and talking to people that have done the trip. So if you are thinking about driving specifically to Roatan, Honduras, or the Bay Islands, Honduras, I'm more than happy to tell you, because I do have, the 2023 rules, because they have changed a lot, and even talking to the USD about potentially bringing my dogs back, but they're on a one-way trip. This is where we live, so we have no plans to bring them back into the United States. So if you do have any questions, my door is always open. I'm enjoying a nice pool day in San Pedro Sula for a little bit of a shopping trip, which is nice. This is actually a brand new hotel, really nice pool, really nice area. So if you ever have any questions, my door is always open.